How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today I'm going to be recapping UFC Vegas 110 Garcia versus Onama. Wrapped up probably about like 10-15 minutes ago. I'm watching USC Nebraska on the big TV. I would be watching, Michigan Purdue because, that's my team, but, fucking fuck Fubo TV, you know what I mean? So I got just the score box loading up. Garcia Onama, it was an alright card. Outcome wise, name wise, this was one of the worst fight nights I think I've ever had the displeasure of watching. Main event ended about as quick as everyone thought it would. There was a lot of finishes on here, to be fair, but it was a problem that a lot of Apex cards have when they happen. Nobody gives a fuck about any outcome that happens on any of these cards because it's in the fucking Apex and there's no crowd reaction. Pick-wise, I went 8-5, which is not too bad, not too great either. I wish I would have gotten some other picks on here right, or just nothing happened at all. Main event I got right. Let's get into it. Steve Garcia versus David Onama. Yep, these stats about sum up the fight. David Onama literally did fucking nothing in this fight. Let me take a swig for that. Good old swig. David Onama was just kind of was on the back foot the entire time. Allowed Steve Garcia to do whatever the fuck he wanted, which I kind of imagined would happen. And it did. Because, David Onama was so scared. It was a huge moment for him. First time, in a main event slot. And he knows he's chinny. Literally the first punch Steve Garcia landed flush chinned him. Like, it's crazy how that happens. The first punch, it was like a left hook, I think. Or was it a right hook? I forget. It shins him. David goes down, gets back to his feet. You can tell he's clearly hurt, though. Like, he's, on wobbly legs, just kind of airplaning. You know how I say Santiago Ponzinibbio airplanes around? That's what David Onama was doing for about 30 seconds. He was just kind of, airplaning, out-of-body experiencing around for about 30 seconds. And Steve Garcia finally rallies him to the ground, gets to a back control position, just starts raining down ground and pound, and David Onama can't cover himself, so the fight gets stopped. Steve Garcia wins his first ever main event in the UFC. Definitely a main event for the ages. It was super competitive, and I really enjoyed this main event. Anybody that picked David Onama, let me just say this, you're fucking stupid. And that's coming from a dude who's picked fucking the worst main events of all time ever. This was always going to be the outcome for this fight. David Onama is one of the chinniest athletes at featherweight. He went up against one of the hardest hitting featherweights on the roster. He was obviously going to lose. No reason to pick him. He didn't shoot a single takedown, which would have maybe led to some success for him. Because he's dumb. And in the first round, he is egregiously dumb. And in the first round, Steve Garcia is his most dangerous. I don't even know who you matchmake Steve Garcia with after this, because this fight literally gets him fucking nowhere. Do Steve Garcia, Josh Emmett, actually. That's a very interesting fight. Two really power punchers. Who's more durable out of the two? We'll fucking find out. If Brian Ortega stays at featherweight, matchmake him. If Brian Ortega moves up, make him and Josh Emmett. That's what you do. I would say Yusuf Zalal, but Yusuf Zalal is on a huge win streak, and he deserves a huge step up in competition. I like to see Yusuf Zalal, Aljamain Sterling, honestly. Or if Lerone Murphy isn't getting... No, Lerone, if he's not getting a title shot, I give him fucking, Yair or something, but... Good win for Steve Garcia. It was the obvious outcome. It is what it is. Let's move to the co-main event. Waldo Cortez Acosta. That might be my shortest main event recap of all time. Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Ante Delia. Very interesting outcome. Waldo obviously knocked out Ante, but Ante had a finishing sequence that should have led to the stoppage of the fight, but there was an eye poke. And to be fair, I don't know how to feel, though. Because it's not consistent. Some fouls that lead to stoppages, where the fight gets stopped, led to the end of the fight. Like Chris Weidman, Bruno Silva, like Cedric Dumas versus Nursultan Ruziboev, both of which were both on Atlantic City. Bruno Silva versus Manel Kape. Fucking Manel Kape, Asu Almabayev. It kind of makes those stoppages seem obsolete, because this stoppage was literally just reverted into to resuming the fight. If you don't know what happened, Ante Delija gets an accidental eye poke on Waldo Cortez Acosta, unloads a barrage of shots, the fight gets stopped. Now, Brendan Fitzgerald said that Mark Smith did not wave his hands. It looked like he did, in my opinion. I may be 8 beers deep. That's none of your fucking business. Another swig to that. But Ante Delija goes kind of supersonic. The fight is literally stopped for about 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes. And for about 2 of those minutes, we don't know that the fight's is in a moment where it can continue. For 2 minutes, it seems like this fight is officially stopped. It's going to go to a decision where it's going to lead to a no contest, which is what it should have been in the first place, right? Because Mark Smith did not stop this contest as if there was an eye poke. He stopped it when Ante Delija was unloading shots on Waldo Cortez Acosta, thinking it was a TKO. You can literally hear him talking to Herb Dean saying, all I saw was punches, but then they resumed the combat based on review, which should have been used on way previous fights in the catalog of the UFC's history, but that's beside the point. This almost seems scripted in a way, to where, Waldo gets eye poked by Tom Aspinall's teammates, and then leads to a knockout finish following the pause in action, which is what actually did happen. Hold on, my phone shut off. What's the score of the Michigan game? We still have the ball. Okay, good. I can't believe we're playing this bad. This is fucking dreadful. Anyways, Ante Delija, following the resume in action, gets immediately dropped with a right overhand by Waldo Cortez Acosta. Was that a catch? No, he dropped it. I'm watching the UFC Nebraska game, aforementioned. Anyways, Waldo drops him, gets a finish. Crazy win by Waldo Cortez Acosta. One of the craziest. I wouldn't even consider this a comeback. Some people called it a comeback. This isn't technically a comeback, right? It wasn't like he was down 2 rounds and then found a finish. It was like, he got eye poked and presumably finished, but then they stopped the finish and did something literally that has never happened in the UFC books before. Well, technically Matt Favola versus Kyle Nelson happened, which, by the way, I'm still not over. That should have been a stoppage for Kyle Nelson. What a catch by number 16 on USC. Anyways, good win for Waldo Cortez Acosta. I think you give him Volkov, if I'm being honest with you. If at heavyweight we're going to resume Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gane, which is what should happen, probably going to happen in March. It's definitely not going to happen in January if you watch Bedtime MMA's video. I understand the thought of it happening in January. Tom Aspinall is, by the looks of it, definitely not going to be ready by January. He still has an eye patch over his fucking eye. Give Volkov to Waldo. Feed Waldo to Volkov. Fuck it, in my opinion. If he already lost to Sergey, give him to Waldo. Or do Waldo Jailton. Who gives a fuck? Anyways, good win for Waldo Cortez Acosta. Setback for Ante Delija. It is what it is. We move to the featured fight. Not you, you fucking bitch. Jeremiah Wells versus Themba Gorimbo. Obviously, I got this one wrong. I don't mind this decision. The numbers here look like it should have been Themba Gorimbo. Round 1, very clearly Themba Gorimbo. Honestly, to the point where it's like, Themba's going to win. He out-grapples, outstrikes Jeremiah Wells in round 1. Round 2, even though he outstrikes him totally, significant-wise, it's very clearly Jeremiah Wells. I thought Jeremiah landed the better shots, and he also had some submission attempts near the end of the round. That does give him the round, in my opinion, and he landed some good ground and pound. And round 3 is very clearly Jeremiah Wells. Themba Gorimbo, sorry I closed the tab, got out cardioed by Jeremiah Wells. I fucking hate that. If you don't know, Jeremiah Wells is a coughing baby when it comes to cardio, per usual. If you look back at the Matt Semmelsberger, Max Griffin fights, he slows down egregiously, and Themba Gorimbo actually got out cardioed by this fucking this goblin. Another swig to that. Anyways, good win for Jeremiah though. Themba Gorimbo is not bad, you know. Touchdown for USC. No, 2-point conversion. They got a touchdown, then got a 2-point. That's good for them. Good win for Jeremiah, though. After 2 years of layoff, he comes back. I think it was 2 years, right? When was the Max Griffin fight? No, it was about a year. It was a year and almost 2 years is what I'm leading to, but good win for him, though. Themba Gorimbo's not an easy person to beat, especially in this fashion. You know, Vicente, beats him pretty clearly. Who was the guy that beat him in his debut? Who was that? Nathan Fletcher that subbed him as well. So it's just one of those things. But Jeremiah Wells, good win for him, though. We move. Rock, get your money back. We move to Isaac Dolgarian versus Yadir Delvai. Yadir Delvai gets a submission win. Great win for him. Looks very dominant in the grappling. I was wrong on this fight, but it does need to be mentioned. Prior to the fight, about an hour out or 30 minutes out, 45 minutes out, something along those lines, the betting lines for this fight went from Isaac Dolgarian being a minus 250 to a minus 135, which means there was a lot of late money coming in on Yadir Delvai prior to the fight. Not only just him to win, but him to win in the first round. I'm not going to say that there was some behind-the-scenes betting by Isaac Dolgarian's friends and family or people who have inside information on the camp. It seems like Isaac Dolgarian might have been injured going into this fight, and it was public knowledge to a couple people who don't really know how to hide their information knowing skills all that well. But if there was no foul play happening here, this was a very, very, very good performance from Yadir Delvai, and one I'm looking very highly on. Isaac Dolgarian, in my opinion, was a very hefty grappler at featherweight, one of the better unranked guys in the division when it comes to grappling. Yadir Delvai not only outgrappled him, but also dominated him in the grappling, stuffed one of his early takedowns, led to a position that led to Isaac Dolgarian into a sprawl position, which Yadir Delvai ended up getting his back, and then locking in a back take, and making Isaac Dolgarian make mistakes, ended up getting a rear naked choke like 7 different times on him that Isaac fought out of like 6. Don't know why I use those 2 numbers. It's terrible. It's 6 hours. Yadir Delvai ends up finally getting the rear naked choke, subbing Isaac Dolgarian. By the way, there was so many submissions on this card, it's fucking nuts. Yadir Delvai, a prospect to look out for. Crazy performance from him. Took no damage. I want to see him in January or February against fucking Christian Rodriguez. Fuck it. Right? Let's see how Christian Rodriguez does against this fucking monster in Yadir Delvai. Because he looks very strong in the grappling against a guy that I really rate grappling-wise. Great win from Yadir Delvai if there was no foul play involved. We move to Charles Radke versus Daniel Frunza. Yet another submission. Utter domination from Charles Radke. In a way I didn't see coming, though. If you didn't watch the fight, the entirety of this fight, outside of maybe 2 minutes, was grappling. Charles Radke actually out-grappled Daniel Frunza for most of this fight. Beat him on the feet as well, outside of maybe round 3 in the first 30 seconds, but then he immediately got a takedown. Daniel Frunza was overswinging heavily in this fight, led to a lot of early takedown attempts from Charles Radke, took him down a couple times. But he dominated him on the grappling. he absolutely dominated him on the ground, got his positions very easily, got to dominant positions very easily, outstruck him very easily, beat him up very easily, and was just kind of shooing in a couple submission attempts here and there, kind of just keeping him on the ground very easily. Aforementioned, these takedowns, I don't really remember what he got when he got stuffed on takedown attempts, whether it was ignore my save tabs. Anyways, good win for Charles Radtke, though. Daniel Frunze, this not only proves to me that Daniel Frunze is a bad fighter, it proves to me that he is an even worse fighter than I thought. This was a bad performance from him. This was utter dog shit. He did basically fucking nothing for about 15 minutes. Great win for Charles Radtke, though. Shows another wrinkle to his game. His grappling, his wrestling looked pretty good. So that's something to use moving forward. I don't know who you matchmake Charles Radtke up with. Maybe you do him versus like a Jake Matthews next or something along those lines. I think that would actually be a very good fight for Charles Radtke. Or him and Kevin Holland. Something like that. Because Charles Radtke, even though he has lost two very prominent fights in the UFC to Carlos Prates and to Mike Malott, he's 4-2 outside of that. He has wins over Frunze, Matt Semmelsberger, Blood Diamond, and Gilbert Urbina. You could do him versus like Punahele Soriano, even if you really wanted to. He's also, like, this was like kind of boring though, I will be honest. So probably him versus like Jake Matthews. We move to the start of the main card, Alan Nascimento versus Cody Durden. I thought I predicted this fight pretty well. I picked Allen by submission. I said rear naked choke in my video, I'm pretty sure, but he got it by, I think it was Darce. It was either Darce or Anaconda. I forget if he had his armpit or his neck in the crease of his choke, but that's besides the point. First round, Cody Durden very clearly won, was outstriking Alan Nascimento, but Alan Nascimento was doing very good work with his low kicks, but Cody Durden was doing way better in the boxing regiment of the striking department in the first round. Round 2 starts by, it looks pretty similar. We'll take a swig to that. But there's always a but whenever I'm giving recaps of fights. Cody Durden, being Cody Durden, gets clipped by something, gets dropped, and then gets submitted. As I quite literally predicted. I didn't predict that, but I said there was going to be enough grappling exchanges that Allen would find a submission, or Cody Durden would be on the shot of like the legs of Allen and end up getting subbed with like a front choke. I picked rear naked because I thought Allen would maybe fail at a front choke, like a guillotine or a Darce or something like that, and then maneuver to the back. But he drops at Cody perfectly timed with an elbow when Cody Durden is stepping in with a jab. And then Cody Durden on the shot attempt, Allen immediately locks in the front choke, chokes out Cody Durden, makes him tap. It is what it is. Good win for Alan Nascimento. I think you rebook him and Rafael Estevam, because Rafael is ranked. And Alan Nascimento, what is that, a 3-fight win streak for him? How long has it been since Alan lost a fight? It's been since Tagir Bekov. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He definitely deserves a ranking fight, especially after beating Phil Ho and Durden. Like, these 2 wins, like, these are really spaced out from this performance against Carlos Hernandez. You need to give him a ranked fight. Rebook him and Rafael Estevam as soon as possible. Great win for him against Cody Durden, because Cody Durden is a tough out against most people. He's kind of a weird guy to fight. Good win for Alan Nascimento. We move to the feature prelim, Billy Alicano versus Kevin Christian. Kevin was doing pretty well, I'll be honest with you. He was low kicking the shit out of Billy Alicano, was kicking the fuck out of him at range for most of this fight. Take your swig to that. Man, I gotta piss. But it doesn't matter. Wait, what's the score of the Michigan game? I haven't checked in a while. We beat them. Let's go. We beat Purdue. All right, there we go. Tough game. Kevin was low kicking like pretty well for the most part. Billy Alicano was in southpaw for most of this fight, which is not his traditional stance. I think he was expecting Kevin not to be able to have his low kick open because it would be shin to shin, but Kevin did it anyways. But he chinned Kevin when Kevin threw, I want to say it was a body kick, and Kevin, since he's so tall, but he's so, his stance is so spread out, his legs are so far apart that he doesn't even really utilize his height. He got clipped, and since he's so like spread out, he gets hit so hard that his head goes way over and his hips go way over, that he falls over because he's so off balanced. And he falls back, and Billy Elicana, to be fair, landed a fuck ton of back of the head shots that eventually led to him taking Kevin Christian's back and submitting him and choking him unconscious. Which sucks because Kevin was tapping, but he didn't tap on Billy Elicana. He tapped on the canvas. But what's the one guy? What's his name? What's the ref's name? What's the bald guy's name? I can see his face. I can't name him though. I'm too inebriated. Fuck, what's his name? I can't think of his name. But anyways, the ref doesn't see it, and Kevin taps out. But he doesn't see it, so he gets choked unconscious. Brutal for him. Good win for Billy Elicana. That's 2 in a row for Billy Elicana, to be fair. You know what I mean? That's good for him. Ibo Aslan and Kevin Christian back-to-back. That's good for him. He looked all right outside of his leg kick defense. I'd like to see more checks out of him, but that's about it. We move to Timmy Kwamba versus Chang Ho Lee. Great win from Timmy Kwamba. Honestly, really good performance from him. I'll be honest with you. I know these striking numbers make it seem like Timmy Kwamba or that Chang Ho Lee should have won. I don't think these are the numbers from round 3, though. Round 1, very clearly Chang Ho Lee. I wouldn't be mad at a 10-8 here, just because of how dominant the position was that Chang Ho Lee had and how long he had it and how much damage he was able to do, because he did bloody up Timmy Kwamba in the first round. Round 2, very clearly Timmy Kwamba. Round 3, even though it doesn't look like it, very clearly Timmy Kwamba. He actually had the back of Chang Ho Lee for quite a number of minutes in this round. Dominant position as well. Same with round 2. It was either a draw for Chang. There's literally no way you can give either of these rounds to Chang Ho Lee, in my opinion. But round 1, maybe you could argue a 10-8. It's like, I don't know. I don't think there was enough damage to be given out to render a 10-8. So, Timmy Kwamba, great comeback win. This is a comeback win. After that first round, you'd be like, damn, Chang Ho Lee's going to dominate this fight. But in fact, he did not. And Timmy Kwamba ended up winning the last 2 rounds. Chang Ho Lee kind of gassed out his legs in round 1, held onto a body triangle standing upright against Timmy Kwamba for about 5 minutes. I'm not bullshitting. He got a takedown about 13 seconds in, held the body triangle for about 4.5 minutes. Good win for Timmy Kwamba. Round 2 rallied. Round 3, it was close, but he ended up with dominant position, ended up holding Chang Ho Lee on the ground for a number of time. Good win for him. We move. Chang Ho Lee, is that his undefeated, or did he lose a fight? He did lose on the fight on the regional scene. So, good win for Timmy Kwamba. Chang Ho Lee looked like an unstoppable force in the unranked section of bantamweight for a little bit. No, he isn't. We move to Dante Johnson versus Cedric Dumas. One of the funniest pound-for-pound fights I think I've ever seen in my life. Round 1, Dante Johnson won. Cedric Dumas was looking to grapple literally the entire time. That's about it. He gassed out really fast in this fight as well, which was kind of funny. Dante Johnson didn't even really strike a lot in this fight. He was looking more to wrestle, which I thought was kind of strange, but it is what it is. Round 1, he did some good damage with some good clinch striking, some good ground and pound. Round 2 starts, Cedric Dumas kind of gets taken down very easily at the start. He goes for a couple takedowns and then gets left on his back. He goes for a couple of rolling thunders off his back, like some capoeira kicks, like Shara Bullet versus Bruno Silva, but he doesn't get anything with it. And then Dante just kind of gets to a front position, locks in a north. What was it like a ninja choke? I forget. They look like a north-south choke at the end. You can see him wrap his arm around the neck of Cedric Dumas. It looked like a WWE end to a fight, though, because Cedric was like, it looked like he was a WWE about to tap. He had like his hand up in the air. He was like, ugh, ugh. Like it was so telegraphed that he was going to tap. Good one for Dante Johnson, though. Cedric Dumas get cut from the sport. You suck. Dante Johnson, good win, I guess. Rebook him and whoever he was gonna fight. Sorry, I was about to piss my pants while recording. I couldn't stay, bro. My bladder was about to explode. I'm now watching the Pistons versus Mavericks game now, but yeah, good win for Dante Johnson. We move to Ketlin Vieira versus Norma Dumont. I'm gonna be the person to say this. No, I don't want to share my Peacock data with the fucking NBA. I don't mind this decision, you know. I don't mind it. I don't mind this at all. Round 3, in my opinion, is very clearly Norma Dumont. I thought round 1, even though the striking numbers look like this, I thought this was a Ketlin Vieira round. I thought round 2 was a Norma Dumont round damage-wise. The reason why round 1 is a Ketlin Vieira round is because she had a locked-in arm triangle on Norma Dumont at the end of the round. She had a locked-in arm triangle for about 45 fucking seconds, and she landed some good ground and pound. The striking, even though it looks like this, was pretty competitive between these two. And I thought Ketlin landed some good shots in round 1 as well. Round 2, even though the striking looks like this, look at the significant strikes numbers. And Norma landed way better shots in round 2 than she did round 1. She did. Even though the numbers look way different, a lot of these are ground and pound strikes. I don't think Ketlin did enough damage with her takedown in round 2. It is kind of a flippy-floppy kind of fight. I can understand giving this fight to Ketlin Vieira. I'm not mad at the decision, though. Round 3 was very clearly Norma Dumont. These are 2 close rounds. I thought round 1 went to Ketlin just because of the submission attempts at the end. Round 2, she didn't do enough damage with her takedown. She didn't. She didn't land significant elbows. She didn't cut open Norma Dumont. And Norma landed some pretty good shots on the feet. Meanwhile, notice how these are, very close, significant to total strike numbers. These aren't. A lot of these are, like shots to the body off her back. You know what I mean? Those aren't significant. Round 2, a lot of these total strikes are strikes on the feet, which I do think favor Norma Dumont in the decision. It is wishy-washy. It should have been 5 rounds anyways. I would have much rather this be a main event. If I'm, I know that sounds like a crazy, dude, I'm such a hardcore man. But, this fight would have served better as a 5-round main event, in my opinion, than it was a 3-round preliminary bout for fucking Steve Garcia, David Onama. No, I don't want fucking that bullshit. Sorry, some shit popped up on my TV. Norma Dumont, I'm not mad at the decision. Not at all. That's coming from somebody that picked Norma Dumont, though, so take that with a grain of salt. We move to Alice Ardeleon versus Montserrat Canelo Ruiz. Dominant, in my opinion, from Alice Ardeleon. Strawweight, yet another striker first good WMMA fighter, in my opinion. Alice Ardeleon has really shown growth in her last 2 fights, and we're not talking about her tuchus. She won every round in this fight. I know Montserrat, she's been finished in every UFC loss she's had so far. And she's been dominated in a couple of those. For example, she did get dominated against, who did she fight last before? Was it Alan Carr? No, Amarim beat the shit out of her. Eduardo Moira beat the shit out of her. And then who was the first fight? Yeah, Lemos knocked her out. She beat Cheyenne Vlismas, but, that was so long ago that no one even remembers it. Alice completely outboxed her. Literally the entire time. Drive from Cooper Flag absolutely does not go. That is Cooper Flag, right? No, I don't think that is. Is that? That looks like it's a white boy. It is Cooper Flag. I think it is. Yep. FLAGG. But Alice completely outboxed her on the feet, beat the shit out of her, made her bleed a lot out of her nose and mouth. She looked good. For a WMMA striker, her head movement looked all right. Her striking, her pull counters looked good. It was one of those performances where you're watching and you're like, damn, she's actually got some fucking hands. And strawweight has had an abundance of these ladies pop out literally out of nowhere. It seems like in the Big 25, there's been a lot of WMMA strawweights that have like randomly popped out of the blue that have really good, like visually like good striking. And Alice Leon has like become a front runner as one of those ladies that has good striking. So good for her. Good win for Alice Leon. Some good money outside of OnlyFans for her wallet, so good for her. We move to Phil Rowe versus Suk Kyung Ko. This was a terrible pick on my part. I will be the first to tell you. Suk Kyung Ko, as I mentioned in my picks and breakdown, Suk Kyung Ko he has really good grappling. I thought he wouldn't be able to take down Phil Rowe as easily because a lot of his takedowns come from clinches. His wrestling's pretty good, though. My initial pick, like I said in my picks and breakdown, was Suk Kyung Ko by grappling. That was my initial thought when this fight crossed my eyes. But fight week, I was like, dude, I don't know, man. Phil Rowe could fucking TKO him, dude. And it blinded me. I'm sorry for producing that pick for you guys. I know you guys don't give a shit because most of you guys only really care about, dude, who'd you pick for the fucking main event, dude? Which I got correct in this case. Which I think actually breaks a streak of me getting incorrect main events since... No, because I got Rio right. I got Charles. But I picked RDR and Aspinall. But Aspinall doesn't count because that was a no contest. So I had... But then I picked Ankh against Lex. October was a shitty month for me, innit? I went 1-2-1. That's terrible. Anyways, good one for Suk Kyung Ko. He's pretty good. He's pretty fucking good. All right. Watching the fight, I was like, this fucking like one of those things where it's like this fucking guy fucking out grappling my pick. But objectively, I can be like, damn, this guy's pretty good. So, good for him. We move to the start of the entire card, not the main card. Talita Alencar, Ariane Carnelosi. I gave the first round to Talita Alencar, not Ariane Carnelosi. That'd be terrible. Pretty good win for her. Ariane had a lot of control in the clinch, but she ended up getting taken down in the first round and gotten hit a couple times. Round 2... Talita got some takedowns, got some back control, and then round 3, it looked like Ariane, and then she dropped her with a right hand and then a knee to the head, and then round 3 started, and it looked like Ariane was starting to pull on some pressure, but then Talita got a takedown off of a leg kick that she caught, and then ended up finding a sub really late in the round. So, a Sir Thompson at the free throw line. Good for Talita Alencar, though. Good win for her against Ariane Carnelosi, who is the most jacked female I think I've ever seen fight in the UFC. UFC Vegas 110. What a card, am I right? What a main event. Look at the stats. What a main event. Am I right, fellas? I know I said I would have replaced this with Waldo versus Ante. That's besides the point. Alright? At least this fight was like somewhat competitive against this fucking one-way street of a fight. David literally did fucking nothing. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the card? If you liked the video, give it a like. If you want to see more content, leave a subscribe. Leave a comment down below what you guys want to see next. I won't be as inebriated in my next video. I promise. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.